So of course, since we're doing a CL look, I already have my gray color contacts in. I'll put the links in the description box below so you can get the same ones I have, which I think look pretty natural. Moving on, I'm going to go ahead and prep my skin using this Mizon Snail Recovery Gel Cream. I like using this because it keeps my skin hydrated, but it doesn't feel oily or greasy on the skin. Now for this look, I'm actually going to do her foundation first because it requires a lot of contouring, so I want to do that before I start my eye makeup. Now this is my new favorite way to apply my foundation, and I'm going to use this spray to spray down my little puff, and then I'm going to dip it into the Cushion Compact and then spread it all over my skin. Now this has a really natural finish, and it just helps the foundation just seep into my pores, and it just looks really natural. To highlight certain areas of my face, I'm going to use this BB cream, which is a little bit higher coverage than the other one I just used, and dab it onto the areas that I want to highlight, such as the middle of my forehead, down the bridge of my nose, and on the tops of my cheeks. This will help mimic the flawless look that CL had in her pictures, and of course I'm going to spray down my pad again using the same method and just roll it into my skin. Perfect skin would be nothing without concealer, so I'm going to take this concealer in particular and I'm going to use my finger just to dab it on underneath my eyes. You guessed it, I'm going to go ahead and spray my pad down again, and I'm going to fold it in half. This is the perfect way to apply my concealer. It just applies it flawlessly and without any effort at all. As you could see, the pad just kind of soaks up any excess product, and spraying it down helps it blend in more naturally. Now to make sure our foundation doesn't slide around all over our face, we're going to go ahead and set it. And how I do it is I take a tapered brush and pick up the powder from the puff that comes inside the container, and I just dab it all over my face. In doing this, it ensures I don't get more product than what I actually need, and it just helps set everything very naturally. Time for contour. Now I'm going to take this bronzer, and it's a nice matte bronzer, and if you notice in the picture, CL has a bit of contour on her face, particularly in her eye sockets next to her nose. She also has a bit of contour going down the sides of her nose, and what this does is it makes your nose look more prominent, straightens it out, and also thins it out, so it's kind of a double whammy or triple whammy. And then I just take the brush that I applied my setting powder with and just help blend it out. The excess powder helps just make sure it looks nice and blurred. Taking an angled blush brush, I'm going to go ahead and heavily contour the side of my face. She did have a bit of contour in the hollow of her cheekbone, on the side of her face, and also down her jawline just to slim out that area. And as you can see the difference between the two sides of my face, the contoured side looks much more chiseled. Now from what I could tell from the picture, it didn't seem like she had a ton of blush on, but if she did have blush on, it was a very natural looking blush, and also more towards the back of her cheek. So instead of applying it to the apple of my cheek, I'm actually applying it to my cheekbone, more towards the temple of my face. I get to move on to our eyes, so I'm going to go ahead and comb some of the foundation out of my eyebrows, and I'm going to use this e.l.f. eyebrow kit and use the powdered side of it to fill in my eyebrows. Now my eyebrows are a bit more arched than CL's are in the picture, so I'm just using horizontal strokes to make my eyebrows look a little bit more straighter and not so arched. Then I'm just going to take the spoolie brush and brush out any extra product. And what would any eye look be without eye primer? So I'm just taking this eye primer and smoothing it onto my eye area. CL had a very bright-eyed look in the picture that I saw on her Instagram, so I'm just using the Shine Volumer and spreading it onto my eyelid and also bringing it down into my tear duct area. This has become one of my favorite eye products, and it's from Clio, and it is their Gel Espresso Waterproof Eyeshadow Stick. And as you can see, it smooths on really easily without much effort, and it's this beautiful bronzy color. The one that I'm using is in Bottoms Up, and I'm just going to use this to trace the shape of my eyes similarly to what CL has. Now, as you can see, I'm making a pretty dramatic cat eye shape look, and that's okay if it's a little bit messy because we're going to go ahead and blend it out with a brush anyways. I wouldn't recommend doing what I did. I kind of regretted doing both my eyes and then going back and blending. I would definitely apply the product and then blend after because it sets pretty quickly. I'm also going to use the same product and run it under my eye all the way into my tear duct. This is maybe the most important part in any CL look, and it is her dramatic cat eyeliner. Now you'll notice how thick I draw my line, and also from the inner corner of my eye, I go up and then straight over. So instead of following the natural shape of my eye, I'm emphasizing the cat eye shape and just making my eye look very almost heavy and dramatic. We're also going to use some false eyelashes, so I'm taking these 105R Dell eyelashes, cutting them in half, and I'm using the inner half actually on the outer part of my eye. I find in doing this, it helps blend in with my eyelashes since I have fairly short eyelashes, and I'm using dual lash adhesive to make sure that they last all day. Then blend it all together with a little bit of mascara. Next, I'm going to take a pencil eyeliner. This is, of course, just a typical black eyeliner, and I'm going to fill in any gaps in between my lashes just to make sure they blend in with the false eyelashes. I'm also going to run that a little bit on the outer part of my eye and the inner tear duct to make it look like a cat eye. I also cut up these lower false eyelashes and glue them to the outer part of my eye. Again, this just really emphasizes that cat eye shape that CL tends to love. Now we're going to finish off by doing the lips, and to get the same shade that she has, I actually mixed together these 3 different lip products. Now I'm not completely satisfied with how similar this looks, but I think I got pretty close. How I achieved the look was I used the tangerine color, then the Spirit MAC lipstick on top, which is slightly brown, and then this red color, which has more brown undertones to it. And as you can see, I got kind of close to what her lips look like, and of course you cannot forget that little trademark mole. I just realized I did it on the wrong side, but we'll work with it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this makeup tutorial. CL is my favorite, so I had a lot of fun doing this look. Don't forget to rate, comment, subscribe, share with your friends and family, and I'll see you guys in my next video.